Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something today that a lot of folks don't like hearing, but it's the truth. You are not like other women. And the funny thing is, he never expected you. He never saw you coming. See, a man can prepare for trouble. He can prepare for games. He can even prepare for heartbreak, but he cannot prepare for a woman who carries herself with purpose, peace, and power. That kind of woman, oh, she hits different. A rare woman carries a standard, not an attitude, and that is exactly what separates her from everybody else. See, a lot of people get confused. They think confidence is attitude. They think boundaries are attitude. They think self-respect is attitude. But a woman who knows her worth doesn't walk around with her chin up trying to be better than anybody else. She walks with purpose, knowing she doesn't have to prove a thing to anybody. Her presence speaks before she opens her mouth. Her energy enters the room before she does. And that energy says, I know who I am, and I'm not lowering myself for nobody. A standard is something deep. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's not a show. It's the quiet decision to refuse the bare minimum. It's the confidence to walk away from anything that threatens her peace. It's the wisdom to choose quality over attention. It's the inner strength to stay true to what she deserves, even when she's tempted to settle. A woman like this isn't trying to impress the world. She's trying to honor herself. And that's why she stands out in a world full of people chasing validation. She doesn't move like everybody else because she doesn't think like everybody else. Her soul is different. Her spirit is disciplined. Her heart is valuable, and she treats it that way. A woman with standards doesn't let just anybody access her. Not because she thinks she's better, but because she knows she has too much to offer to waste her time on people who don't know what to do with her. She protects her energy like it's gold because she knows how much she has healed, how much she has grown, and how much she has survived. She's not difficult. She just knows what chaos costs. She's not intimidating. She just refuses to shrink. She's not picky. She just learned the hard way that entertaining the wrong people steals years of your life. And a man who meets a woman like this feels the difference instantly. She doesn't come with drama. She comes with clarity. She doesn't play games. She communicates. She doesn't chase. She attracts. She doesn't demand attention. She earns respect. She is soft, yes, but she is also solid. She is kind, yes, but she doesn't tolerate disrespect. She gives love, yes, but she gives it wisely, not blindly. A woman like this isn't moved by temporary things. She is moved by consistency. She is moved by effort. She is moved by a man who understands that her standard isn't about being high maintenance. It's about being mature. When a woman carries a standard, she becomes rare, not because other women aren't valuable, but because not everyone has the courage to live by the truth of their worth. Most people adapt to the world. She lets the world adapt to her. She's not trying to be special. It just happens naturally when you stop settling, stop shrinking, and stop apologizing for wanting real love, real respect, and real partnership. Her standard is her power. Her standard is her protection. And her standard is the reason she can't be replaced. A man never expects the woman who changes his habits, his mindset, and his priorities, because men are used to predictable patterns. They're used to routine, to comfort, to moving through life without really being challenged where it matters. Internally, most men meet women who fit into their lifestyle, but every now and then he meets a woman who makes him change his lifestyle. He doesn't see her coming. He doesn't prepare for her. She walks in, not forcing anything, not demanding anything, just being her authentic self, and suddenly he finds himself thinking differently, acting differently, and feeling differently in ways he didn't even know he was capable of. It's not because she tries to change him. That's the part that shocks him the most. She doesn't nag, she doesn't pressure, she doesn't preach. She just lives at a higher standard, and in order to keep up with her, he has to rise. She doesn't tolerate inconsistency, so he becomes consistent. She doesn't entertain mixed signals, so he starts communicating better. She doesn't chase, so he steps up. She doesn't settle for half effort, so he gives full effort. It's not that she forces him to evolve, it's that she inspires him to. An inspiration from a rare woman hits deeper than any lecture ever could. He realizes she has a different kind of presence, the kind that makes him think before he speaks, the kind that makes him check himself before he disappoints her, the kind that makes him want to be a man she can brag about, not a man she has to heal from. When a man meets a woman whose energy elevates him, he feels that shift. He notices that he's becoming more responsible, more intentional, more accountable. And it's not because she told him to do it. It's because being with her makes him want to be better. He starts paying attention to things he used to ignore, the tone he uses, the promises he makes, the habits he keeps, the people he allows in his life. He becomes more protective of her and of the relationship because he knows he hasn't experienced this level of connection before. She doesn't just touch his heart, she touches his discipline. She doesn't just make him feel good, she makes him grow. And growth is something most men don't expect to come from love. The truth is, a man never expects the woman who shifts his entire direction, the woman who makes him see his future clearer than his past, the woman who makes him realize that comfort isn't the goal, commitment is. He sees himself through her eyes, and suddenly he wants to live up to that vision. That's when he understands she's not an ordinary woman. Ordinary doesn't inspire transformation. Ordinary doesn't push a man toward his potential. But a rare woman, a woman with self-respect, self-awareness, and emotional maturity, she shakes everything he thought he knew about love, effort, and responsibility. She unknowingly teaches him how to love right, how to show up fully, and how to honor someone who brings peace instead of pressure. And once a man experiences a woman who naturally elevates him, he realizes that meeting her wasn't just unexpected, it was life-changing in ways he never imagined. She becomes unforgettable because she brings peace instead of problems. And in a world where chaos is common and drama is easy to find, Peace is rare. A man doesn't forget the woman who makes his life feel lighter. He doesn't forget the woman whose presence feels like a calm breath after years of storms. He doesn't forget the woman who listens without judgment, loves without conditions, and supports without suffocating. That kind of energy stays with him long after she's gone, long after the conversations end, long after time passes. Peace leaves fingerprints on a man's soul, and once he experiences it, he realizes how empty the noise used to be. She isn't peaceful because she's weak. She's peaceful because she's healed. She has done the work, faced her wounds, and learned how to respond instead of react. She knows that arguments don't build relationships. Understanding does. She knows that yelling doesn't prove a point. Clarity does. She knows that manipulation doesn't make a man stay. Respect does. Her peace isn't silence, it's strength. It's the strength to walk away from nonsense, the strength to control her emotions, the strength to choose growth instead of repeating the same old patterns. And this peace doesn't just affect her, it affects him. It changes him. It stabilizes him. It helps him breathe. A peaceful woman becomes a safe space for a man, not because she carries his burdens for him, but because she gives him room to be real without being punished for it. She doesn't use his vulnerabilities against him. She doesn't weaponize his mistakes. She doesn't turn love into a battlefield. She creates a space where he can tell the truth, fail, try again, and grow. That kind of presence is unforgettable because it's rare, and men know rare when they feel it. A man remembers the woman who made him feel seen. He remembers the woman who didn't criticize him for his flaws, but encouraged him to work on them. He remembers the woman who didn't bring chaos into his life, but helped him escape from it. She becomes the standard by which he compares every woman who comes after her, not intentionally, but because peace changes the way a man views the world. Peace changes what he wants. Peace changes what he chooses. And once he's had it, he refuses to go back to confusion, inconsistency, or emotional games. She is unforgettable because she gives him emotional stability he didn't know he needed. She is unforgettable because her energy speaks louder than her words. She is unforgettable because she showed him what love feels like when it's mature, soft, and intentional. Even if things fall apart, even if life takes them in different directions, her presence stays with him. Her kindness stays with him. Her calm stays with him. He may meet other women, but he won't feel what he felt with her because she wasn't just part of his life. She improved his life. And a man never forgets the woman who brought peace to places inside him he didn't even know were hurting. She becomes unforgettable because her value forces him to elevate, not manipulate, and that right there is what separates a rare woman from everyone else he's ever encountered. Most men are used to situations where they can charm their way through, talk their way out, or smooth things over with sweet words and temporary effort. But a woman of true value, she doesn't fall for rehearsed lines. She pays attention to patterns, not promises. She watches actions, not excuses. And a man quickly learns that with her. He can't stay the same and expect a different outcome. She requires him to rise, not because she demands perfection, but because her presence awakens the responsible, mature, intentional side of him that he's ignored for too long. When a woman knows her worth, a man can't manipulate his way into her heart. He has to earn his place through consistency, honesty, and effort. That isn't pressure, it's accountability. She doesn't threaten to leave every time something goes wrong, but she also doesn't tolerate disrespect or emotional laziness. She's not hard to love. She just knows how she should be loved. And once a man realizes that she operates from standards instead of desperation, he understands that the only way to keep her is to elevate himself. She has a way of making him want to be better, not out of fear, but out of admiration. He sees how she carries herself, the way she communicates, the way she handles conflict, the way she respects herself, and he can't help but reflect on his own behavior. Her emotional intelligence forces him to grow up. Her strength demands his maturity. Her grace challenges his excuses. She becomes a mirror that shows him who he really is and who he could be. And that kind of influence is rare because most people in this world will let you stay comfortable rather than push you toward your potential. Her value isn't loud. She doesn't brag or boast. It's in her patience, her consistency, her self-respect, and the calm way she walks away from anything that doesn't match what she brings. A man can't play games with a woman who knows she's the prize. He can't lie to a woman who trusts herself enough to walk away. He can't manipulate a woman whose boundaries are built from experience, not insecurity. She doesn't react, she responds. She doesn't beg, she chooses. She doesn't cling, she lets go when it's time. And a man feels the difference immediately. A man may not say it out loud, but her presence makes him level up. He finds himself making better decisions, cutting off unnecessary distractions, becoming more disciplined, communicating more clearly, and taking responsibility in ways he never did before. Not because she asked him to, but because she inspired him to. A valuable woman doesn't control a man, she influences him. She doesn't force change, she sparks it. And that spark stays with him long after she's gone. She becomes the reminder of the man he could be, the man he wants to be, and the man he will never again allow himself to fall below. She inspires loyalty because she doesn't chase. She chooses herself first, and that kind of self-respect is magnetic. A woman who doesn't lose herself in a relationship, who doesn't abandon her dreams just to keep a man, who doesn't sacrifice her peace to maintain someone else's comfort. She stands out. She becomes unforgettable because she shows a man something many never show him: love with boundaries, affection with balance, and care that doesn't cost her dignity. A woman like this understands one simple truth. If loving someone means losing herself, it's not love, it's slavery, and she refuses to live that way. A lot of women chase. They chase attention, relationships, closure, answers, consistency, loyalty, things that should come naturally. But a woman who knows her worth has learned that chasing a man never makes him stay. It only teaches him that he's allowed to do less. This woman chooses herself first, not because she's selfish, but because she's wise. She knows that the right man will rise to meet her, not hide behind excuses, mixed signals, or indecision. She knows that real love doesn't require begging, questioning, or proving your value. The moment she feels like she's losing herself, she pauses, she breathes, and she realigns with what she deserves. And a man feels that difference immediately. He feels that she's not clinging to him out of fear. She's not checking his phone, tracking his moves, or competing with other women. She's not swallowing disrespect just to keep the peace. She's not pretending she's okay when she's not. A woman who chooses herself has an aura that tells a man, I want you, but I don't need you. I love you, but I won't lose myself for you. I care about you, but I care about my peace too. That balance is powerful. It earns respect. It inspires loyalty. Men are used to being chased, catered to, forgiven too quickly, and tolerated far too long. But when he meets a woman who is willing to walk away the moment her soul feels threatened, he learns very quickly that he has something rare in his hands. He starts showing up differently. He pays more attention. He tries harder. He becomes more thoughtful, not because she demanded it, but because her calm confidence taught him that he doesn't have unlimited chances with her. She is not afraid of losing him. She's afraid of losing herself, and that scares him in a good way. It wakes him up. A woman who chooses herself sets a certain tone in a relationship. She doesn't revolve her world around a man. She keeps her friendships, her goals, her hobbies, her passions. She invests in her growth. She pours into her purpose. She maintains her identity, and because she doesn't lose herself, the relationship doesn't feel heavy, suffocating, or unbalanced. It feels like partnership, not dependency. She becomes a whole person, loving another whole person, not a broken soul, hoping someone fixes her. That kind of woman is unforgettable. What makes her inspire loyalty is not fear, it's admiration. A man admires a woman who has her own life, her own confidence, her own direction. He admires the way she can give love without losing her voice, the way she can care without controlling, the way she can be nurturing without being needy. He admires that she doesn't collapse when he pulls back. She simply shifts her energy toward herself. This teaches him something. She will not crumble if he leaves, but he might if she does. And that's why he becomes loyal, not because she begs for it, but because she inspires it, not because she is demanding, but because she is deserving, not because she forces commitment, but because she makes commitment feel like the natural thing to do. A woman who chooses herself first becomes the woman a man chooses for life. When a man meets a woman like her, he realizes she's irreplaceable, and that scares him and grows him at the same time, because men don't often come face to face with something they can't forget, can't replace, and can't play with. He may have dated before, he may have entertained plenty of situations, but a woman like her, she hits different. She makes him see himself differently. She makes him look at love differently. She makes him rethink what he thought he wanted. And he feels all of that the moment he realizes She's not just another woman passing through his life. She's a once in a lifetime encounter. He realizes she's irreplaceable because of how she treats him, how she carries herself, how she balances strength with softness. She's not loud about her worth. She's steady in it. She doesn't need to prove she's rare. Her energy proves it for her. She brings something into his life he didn't know he was missing. She brings peace without being passive. She brings love without losing herself. She brings loyalty without locking him down. She brings stability without suffocating his freedom. A man notices the difference between a woman who wants to control him and a woman who wants to grow with him. And she is the latter. He becomes scared not because she's intimidating, but because she's inspiring. She pushes him forward by simply existing in his life. She makes him want to level up. She makes him reevaluate his habits, his priorities, his maturity, his decisions. She makes him more aware of his actions, not because she demands perfection, but because he doesn't want to hurt or lose a woman who sees the best in him. Suddenly, the same behaviors he got away with in past situations don't feel right anymore. The things he used to do without thinking now carry weight. He becomes more intentional, not out of fear of her leaving, but out of fear of losing what she brings into his world. And while he's scared, he's also growing. Growth isn't always comfortable. Growth isn't always smooth. It makes him confront things he avoided for years: commitment, consistency, emotional responsibility, communication, vulnerability. She doesn't force him to grow. She triggers growth. Being with her makes him want to be a better man, not an easier man. She awakens the part of him that wants to protect, provide, and stabilize. She awakens the side of him that wants to build something real, something lasting, something meaningful. He realizes she's irreplaceable because she's not moved by the usual tactics: jealousy, emotional games, hot and cold behavior, mixed signals. She doesn't fall for temporary attention or shallow affection. She doesn't stay where she's not valued. She doesn't wait around for inconsistency to turn into love. A woman like her has self-respect wrapped into her DNA, and he knows he can't gamble with that. He knows if he doesn't rise to meet her where she stands, somebody else will, and that awareness alone changes him. She's irreplaceable because she loves with depth, listens with intention, and shows up with sincerity. She's irreplaceable because she brings balance. She's supportive but not dependent, loving but not desperate, committed but not blind. She holds him accountable without tearing him down. She uplifts him without losing herself. She believes in him without ignoring reality. She sees his potential but doesn't excuse his patterns. And that healthy balance is something a man doesn't encounter often. Even if life pulls them apart, even if time separates them, even if things don't end the way he hoped, she remains unforgettable. She becomes the woman he compares others to, not because he wants to, but because the impact she left on his life becomes the standard he didn't know he needed. She becomes the reminder of what love feels like when it's real, mature, and peaceful. She becomes the proof that some women aren't meant to be replaced. They're meant to be respected, cherished, and grown for. A woman like her doesn't just change a man's life, she changes the way he sees love, the way he sees himself, and the way he moves forever.